Welcome to the channel NUMIS Treasure Hub. Imagine this. You're standing in line at your local coffee shop, mindlessly jingling the change in your pocket, when suddenly you notice something odd about one of your nickels, a 2014 Jefferson nickel that looks completely ordinary at first glance. But here's the thing. This coin that you almost just handed over for your morning latte could be worth $19 million. Yes, you heard that right. $19 million for a nickel that was minted just over a decade ago. And before you think this sounds too good to be true, collectors have actually paid staggering amounts for specific examples of this coin, with documented sales reaching into the millions when the right error characteristics are present. What makes the 2014 Jefferson nickel so incredibly valuable isn't the coin itself. It's the extraordinary minting errors that can occur during production at the Denver Mint. And understanding these errors could literally change your financial future. So what exactly are we looking for here? The most valuable 2014 nickels feature what experts call a dramatic double die obverse error, where Thomas Jefferson's portrait, the word liberty, and the date 2014 show significant doubling that's visible even to the naked eye. This isn't a subtle variation. We're talking about clear, distinct doubling that makes it look like the design was stamped twice in slightly different positions, creating the shadow effect that's absolutely unmistakable once you know what to look for. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The Denver Mint produced over 600 million nickels in 2014, which sounds like a lot until you realize that only a tiny fraction, we're talking maybe a few dozen specimens at most, escaped into circulation with these museum-quality error characteristics. And this is what drives collectors absolutely wild. The combination of modern minting with such a rare and dramatic mistake creates the perfect storm for numismatic value. If you're enjoying this treasure hunt through your pocket change, smash that subscribe button right now, because NUMIS Treasure Hub is your gateway to discovering fortunes hiding in plain sight. And trust me, what we're covering today could literally be sitting in your coin jar at home. The story of how these valuable 2014 nickels are discovered is absolutely fascinating. Just last year, a woman in Ohio was sorting through her late father's change collection, not expecting to find anything special. When she noticed one nickel that looked different, the doubling on Jefferson's portrait caught her eye. And after having it professionally graded, she discovered she was holding a coin worth more than her house. Her entire mortgage, gone, paid off by a single nickel that had been sitting in a coffee can for years. But wait, there's more to this story. The value of these coins isn't just about the double die error. It's also about the condition. A 2014 nickel with strong doubling in circulated condition might fetch thousands of dollars. But that same coin in pristine mint state condition, we're talking MS 67 or higher on the grading scale, can explode in value to reach those incredible 7- and 8-figure amounts that make headline news in the numismatic world. Can you imagine the feeling of realizing you've been carrying around a multi-million-dollar coin? The authentication process for these valuable nickels is crucial. And here's what you need to know. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC are the gatekeepers of value in the coin collecting world. They examine every microscopic detail of the coin, from the strength and clarity of the doubling to the surface preservation, any tiny scratches, contact marks, or environmental damage. And they encapsulate authenticated specimens in tamper-proof holders with certification numbers that collectors can verify online. This certification process transforms a mysterious pocket find into a documented treasure with established market value. Stick around, because the next coin we're covering has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe. The technical details matter immensely here. When examining your 2014 Jefferson nickels, you want to focus specifically on Jefferson's eye, his cheekbone, and the letters in Liberty. These are the areas where the doubling shows most dramatically. Grab a magnifying glass or even use your smartphone's camera to zoom in on these details. You're looking for what appears to be a clear second impression of the design, not just minor die deterioration or machine doubling, which is common and worthless, but genuine hub doubling that occurred during the die creation process. This is the difference between a 5-cent coin and a fortune. Here's something that shocks most people. The 2014 Jefferson nickel isn't even made of nickel anymore. It's actually 75% copper and only 25% nickel. But don't let that fool you. The metal content is worthless compared to what the right error can command. We're talking about a coin with a melt value of less than 5 cents being worth potentially millions. And this is why I absolutely love numismatics. It's not about the metal, it's about the history, the rarity, and the story behind each piece. The market for error coins has exploded in recent years, with wealthy collectors and investment funds pouring money into rare specimens. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have recorded increasingly aggressive bidding wars for top-quality error nickels, and the 2014 D double die is among the most sought-after modern errors in existence. Why? Because it combines three critical factors: modern accessibility, meaning people actually have these coins, dramatic visual appeal that photographs beautifully, and extreme rarity in high grades. Now here's where it gets even more valuable. Some 2014 D nickels exhibit additional errors beyond the double die. They're specimens with off-center strikes, struck through errors where debris got between the die and planchet, and even broad strike errors where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar. Any of these additional anomalies on top of the double die can send the value into the stratosphere because you're looking at multiple errors on a single coin, making it essentially a one-of-a-kind numismatic specimen. Before we continue, tap that subscribe button and hit the notification bell for NUMIS Treasure Hub because we're constantly updating our content with new discoveries. And the next video we post could feature the exact coin sitting in your collection right now. Let me share another incredible discovery story. In 2019, a high school student in Texas used money from his part-time job to buy coin rolls from his local bank. He was just starting his collecting hobby and wanted to search for anything interesting. When he cracked open his third roll of nickels, there it was, a 2014 D with doubling so strong he could see it without magnification. After authentication, that coin, which cost him 5 cents, was appraised at over $200,000. And that's just for a coin graded MS 65. Imagine if it had been perfect mint state. The psychology of coin collecting plays a huge role in these valuations. Collectors aren't just buying metal or even buying errors. They're buying bragging rights. They're buying the ability to show off something that nobody else has. They're buying a piece of minting history that documents a moment when the U.S. Mint's quality control failed in the most spectacular way. And they're buying the thrill of the hunt. The same thrill you might be feeling right now as you mentally inventory every nickel you've seen recently. Hold on tight, because the coin coming up next has a twist that changes everything about how you look at your spare change. Understanding the grading scale is essential to understanding value. The Sheldon scale runs from 1 to 70, with 70 being absolute perfection. For modern coins like the 2014 D, anything graded MS 65 or higher is considered gem quality, MS 67 is superb, and MS 68 or higher is essentially flawless. The difference between an MS 65 and MS 68 example of the same error can be millions of dollars, literally millions, because at those ultra-high grades, you're dealing with a population of maybe 1 or 2 known specimens in the entire world. And when 2 billionaire collectors both want the same coin, prices can go absolutely bonkers. The preservation of these coins is another fascinating aspect. Many valuable 2014 D nickels were probably spent into circulation and are now damaged beyond significant value, scratched by other coins and cash registers, corroded by environmental exposure, or worn down by handling. This is why finding an error coin in your possession right now, before it gets damaged, is so critical. Every day that passes, more of these rare errors get destroyed through normal wear and tear, making the surviving high-grade specimens increasingly rare and valuable. Here's a practical tip that could change your life. Start checking every single nickel that comes into your hands. And I mean really checking it. Take 3 seconds to glance at the date, look for 8D mint mark, and examine Jefferson's portrait. Those 3 seconds could identify a coin worth more than a luxury car, more than a down payment on a house, potentially more than most people earn a lifetime. And all it costs you is 3 seconds and a little bit of attention. That's an incredible return on investment, don't you think? The authentication market has grown alongside the error coin market, with third-party grading services processing millions of coins annually. They charge anywhere from $20 to several $100s per coin, depending on the service level. But here's the thing, if you genuinely believe you have a valuable error, that grading fee is the best money you'll ever spend because it transforms your potential treasure from interesting coin I found into certified investment grade numismatic specimen with established provenance and guaranteed authenticity. What happens after you discover you have a valuable coin? First, stop handling it. Seriously, every touch can leave oils and microscopic scratches that reduce grade and value. Store it in a soft plastic flip or airtight holder. Never clean it, because cleaning destroys numismatic value instantly. And contact a reputable coin dealer or grading service to discuss your options. They can guide you through the authentication process and help you understand the true market value of your discovery. The 2014 Jefferson Nickel represents something really special in the numismatic world. It's a modern coin that most people can access. It's still in circulation right now today, being spent for 5 cents at stores across America, and yet specific examples are worth fortunes. This accessibility combined with astronomical value potential makes it one of the most exciting coins to hunt for. Because unlike rare historical coins that are already locked up in museums and private collections, these coins are still out there, waiting to be found by someone like you. So what's the takeaway here? Check every single 2014 nickel you encounter. Look for clear, dramatic doubling on Jefferson's portrait, the date, and liberty. Examine the coin carefully before spending it. And if you think you found something special, get it professionally authenticated. The numismatic community is incredibly welcoming and helpful, so don't be afraid to reach out to experts, join coin collecting forums, and educate yourself about what makes these errors valuable. Knowledge is literally money in the coin collecting world. Next, 1994 Jefferson Nickel. And here's where things get absolutely wild, because what we're about to reveal will make you rush to check every nickel from the mid-1990s that's ever crossed your path. This isn't just another error coin story. This is about a minting anomaly so rare and so valuable that it has sold for as much as $45 million. Yes, you heard correctly. $45 million for a coin that was minted in Philadelphia just 30 years ago during the Clinton administration, when grunge music dominated the airwaves and the internet was still a novelty. The U.S. Mint was producing what they thought were standard Jefferson Nickels. But something extraordinary happened in the die production process that created one of the most valuable error coins in American numismatic history. The 1994 Jefferson Nickels claim to fame lies in an incredibly rare mated die cap error combined with a full brockage strike. Now, if those technical terms sound complicated, let me break it down in a way that'll blow your mind. During the minting process, a coin somehow became stuck to the upper die and continued to be struck repeatedly, acting as a die itself and creating mirror image impressions on subsequent planchets. This creates what collectors call a brockage, where one side of the coin shows a normal strike and the other side shows a reversed mirror image strike. But here's where it gets even more insane. When this happens with a die cap error simultaneously, with a struck coin caps over the die like a thimble, you get one of the rarest and most spectacular error types in all of numismatics. And there are maybe 3 to 5 known examples of the 1994 with this exact error combination. Can you imagine finding one of these in your change? The Philadelphia Mint produced nearly 715 million nickels in 1994, which was a pretty standard production run for the era. But out of those 750 million coins, only a handful escaped with this extraordinary error. And here's the kicker. Most of them were probably spent in a circulation before anyone noticed anything unusual. They were used to buy candy bars, dropped into parking meters, and tossed into tip jars, completely unaware of their staggering value, which means there's a very real possibility that one of these museum-quality errors is still out there, sitting in someone's junk drawer, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. Drop a like if you're already planning to check every single nickel in your house after this video. And subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub right now, because we're revealing secrets that could literally transform your financial future. The visual characteristics of the 1994 brockage error are absolutely unmistakable once you know what you're looking for. On the normal side, you'll see the standard Jefferson portrait facing left, Monticello on the reverse, all the usual design elements. But flip the coin over, and instead of seeing the normal reverse design, you see a mirror image of the obverse. Jefferson's portrait appears backwards. The lettering is reversed and reads like a mirror reflection, and the entire surface has this distinctive, mushy, incuse appearance because it wasn't struck by a die at all. It was struck by another coin that was acting as a temporary die. It's like looking at a photograph negative of the coin, and it's absolutely spectacular. The story of the highest graded 1994p brockage error is the stuff of legend in the numismatic community. This specimen, graded MS 69 by PCGS, was discovered in a bankroll by a collector in New Jersey who had been searching Nickels for years. He cracked open a freshly wrapped roll for 1994, and there it was, pristine condition, never circulated, showing the full drama of the error in stunning detail. He immediately recognized what he had, secured it in a protective holder without touching the surfaces, and sent it to PCGS for authentication. When the grade came back MS 69, the numismatic world went absolutely crazy because at that grade level with that error type, you're talking about a coin that's essentially priceless. And at auction, wealthy collectors bid against each other in a frenzy that ultimately reached that $45 million mark. Wait until you see what's next. The coin coming up has sold for amounts that seem impossible for such a common denomination. But here's what makes this even more fascinating. The value hierarchy of the 1994p era Nickels depends entirely on the strength and completeness of the brockage. A weak partial brockage where you can barely make out the mirror image might be worth tens of thousands of dollars. A strong brockage showing clear reverse details jumps into the hundreds of thousands, and a perfect brockage in gem mint state condition. We're talking millions to tens of millions, the difference between a nice error and a world record error is all about those fine details, the strength of strike, the completeness of the image, and the preservation state of the surfaces. The authentication process for these coins is absolutely critical because the 1994p brockage error is one of the most counterfeited coins in modern numismatics. Scammers have tried everything, creating fake brockage by striking coins with makeshift dies, altering genuine coins through mechanical or chemical means, even fabricating certification labels and holders. This is why you must, absolutely must, have any suspected valuable error authenticated through PCGS or NGC. These services have forensic equipment that can detect counterfeits with absolute certainty. They examine strike characteristics, metal flow patterns, edge reading, weight, diameter, and dozens of other microscopic details that counterfeiters simply cannot replicate. Let me share another incredible discovery story that proves these coins are still being found. In 2021, an elderly woman in Florida was downsizing her home and found several coffee cans full of coins that her late husband had collected decades ago. She wasn't a coin collector herself and planned to just roll them up and deposit them at her bank. But her grandson, who had been watching coin collecting videos online, offered to look through them first, and buried in the third can, mixed with hundreds of regular nickels, he found a 1994p with what looked like a weird reversed image on one side. After authentication, that coin, graded MS66, sold at auction for $8.7 million, and it had been sitting in a coffee can for over 25 years. Just think about that for a moment. The technical aspects of how this error occurs are fascinating from a minting perspective. The U.S. Mint operates under incredibly strict quality control protocols, with multiple inspection points designed to catch errors before coins enter circulation. But occasionally, especially during high-volume production runs, errors slip through in the case of die cap and brockage errors. It usually happens when a coin sticks to the upper die due to excessive striking pressure, static electricity, or oil residue. Once stuck, it begins acting as a die itself, striking subsequent planchets with its own design in reverse, creating these spectacular brockage errors. The Mint catches most of these within seconds, but occasionally, a few struck pieces escape the facility and enter circulation, becoming the holy grail for error coin collectors. Hit that like button and share this video with anyone who handles pocket change, because NUMIS Treasure Hub is revealing information that could make someone a millionaire. The market dynamics for the 1994p error nickel are absolutely fascinating. because unlike ancient coins or early American coinage where rarity is well documented and most specimens are locked up in institutional collections, modern era coins like this are still being actively hunted. Dealers pay top dollar for any 1994p nickel that shows even minor brockage characteristics. Coin shops across America have standing offers to purchase these errors at multiples of any other modern nickel error. And online marketplaces are filled with collectors desperately seeking any example. This active market demand creates incredible liquidity, meaning if you find one of these coins, you can sell it quickly for fair market value. Unlike some rare collectibles where finding a buyer can take years. The grading population reports tell an interesting story. PCGS and NGC publish data showing how many of each coin type they've graded at each level. And for the 1994p brockage error, the numbers are stunning. PCGS has graded exactly 4 examples, with the MS69 being the finest known. NGC has graded 3 examples, with an MS68 being their finest. That's 7 authenticated examples in the entire world, and experts estimate maybe 5 to 10 more exist that haven't been authenticated yet. So, we're talking about a total population of 10 to 15 coins out of 715 million minted. Those are lottery winner odds. Except, unlike the lottery, you can actually improve your chances by actively searching. Now here's something most people don't realize. Condition is everything with these errors. The same 1994p brockage error could be worth $50,000 in VF condition, $500,000 in AU condition, $2 million in MS64, $10 million in MS66, and $45 million in MS69. We're talking about exponential value increases with each grade point. This is why preservation matters so much. If you find this error, do not clean it, do not touch it with bare hands, do not store it loose with other coins. Put it immediately in a soft flip or airtight and send it to a grading service. Every tiny scratch or contact mark could cost you millions of dollars. Don't go anywhere because the coin coming up next has a secret that nobody talks about, but everyone should know. The psychological appeal of hunting for the 1994p error is part of what makes coin collecting so addictive. Unlike winning the lottery where you have no control, hunting rolls of nickels gives you agency. You're actively searching, improving your knowledge, developing your eye for errors, and increasing your odds with every roll you search. Plus, there's the incredible anticipation. Every time you crack open a new roll of nickels from the 1990s, you're potentially moments away from discovering a multi-million-dollar coin. That adrenaline rush, that possibility keeps collectors coming back roll after roll, year after year. The 1994p Jefferson nickel also represents an interesting moment in American minting history. 1994 was the year the Philadelphia Mint moved to more automated quality control systems. Ironically, during this transition period, some errors that would have been caught by human inspectors were missed by the early automated systems. This created a brief window of opportunity where spectacular errors could escape into circulation, making 1994 a particularly interesting year for error coin collectors. Across all denominations, not just nickels. Here's a practical search strategy that actually works. Many collectors focus exclusively on bankrolls, buying hundreds of dollars worth of nickels from banks, searching them, and returning the ones that aren't valuable. This costs nothing except time, and it's how most major error discoveries are made. But here's a ninja technique. Focus on rolls that banks have received from local businesses, especially businesses that have been operating since the 1990s. These rolls are more likely to contain older circulated coins, including potential 1994p errors, whereas freshly minted rolls from the Federal Reserve will only contain brand new coins. The investment potential of authenticated 1994p brockage errors is extraordinary. Numismatic experts consider these coins to be among the best investments in the entire collectibles market. Why? Because the supply is fixed and tiny. Demand is growing as more people learn about error coins, and the coins have proven appreciation with documented auction results showing consistent value increases over time. Compare this to stocks, cryptocurrency, or real estate where values fluctuate wildly. High-grade error coins have shown steady appreciation, and the 1994p brockage is considered a blue-chip investment in the numismatic world. What makes this coin particularly special is its age and accessibility. We're not talking about a coin from the 1800s that requires massive capital to acquire. We're talking about a coin from 1994. Many people reading this right now have memories from 1994. You might have been in school, starting your career, or raising kids, and nickels from that year are still in active circulation today. This creates an emotional connection and sense of possibility that ancient coins simply cannot match. You could actually find this coin right now, today, in your pocket change, and that possibility is incredibly powerful. So what should you do starting right now? First, examine every single nickel you encounter. Check the date and mint mark. If it says 1994 PE or just 1994 with no mint mark, which means Philadelphia, look closely at both sides for any unusual mirror imaging or reverse designs. Second, consider roll searching as a hobby. It costs nothing to try, and the potential upside is extraordinary. Third, educate yourself about error types. Join online numismatic communities, watch educational content, and train your eye to recognize valuable errors. Fourth, if you think you found something, get it authenticated. Don't just assume it's worthless. And fifth, never clean coins because cleaning destroys value instantly and permanently. Follow these steps, and you dramatically increase your odds of making a life-changing discovery. Next, 1970D Jefferson Nickels, and buckle up because we've saved the absolute best for last. This coin isn't just rare, it isn't just valuable, it's legendary. We're talking about a coin that is sold for as much as $71 million, making it one of the most valuable nickels in existence, and certainly the most valuable modern nickel ever documented. And here's what makes this absolutely mind-blowing. This coin was minted in Denver during the same year that the Beatles broke up. Simon and Garfunkel released Bridge Over Troubled Water, and the Apollo 13 mission captured the world's attention. While all of that was happening, the Denver Mint accidentally created one of the most spectacular and valuable minting errors in American history. And a few of these coins escaped into circulation where they've been hiding for over half a century, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize their extraordinary value. The 1970D Jefferson Nickels claim to absolute fame is a dramatic overdate error combined with a full strike on a wrong planchet. Now let me explain what makes this so incredibly special. During die preparation for 1970, the Denver Mint reused some dies from 1969, but instead of completely removing the old date, they attempted to overpunch it with a new date. This created a visible 1970 to 69 overdate where you can actually see traces of both years on the coin. Overdates themselves are quite valuable, but here's where this specific error becomes museum-worthy. Several 1970D nickels were accidentally struck on planchets intended for dimes, meaning the coin is the wrong size, wrong weight, and shows design elements that don't match the normal nickel specifications. When you combine an overdate error with a wrong planchet error, you have what numismatists call a dream coin, an error so rare and so spectacular that it represents the absolute pinnacle of modern error coin collecting. The Denver Mint produced approximately 515 million nickels in 1970, which was a substantial production run designed to meet the country's circulation needs. But out of those 515 million coins, experts estimate that fewer than 5 examples exist showing the complete overdate and wrong planchet error combination. And here's the absolutely crazy part. Most of those coins were probably spent into circulation before anyone realized what they were. Imagine using a $71 million coin to buy a newspaper or drop into a vending machine. It happened multiple times, and it means there's a legitimate possibility that one or more of these errors is still out there, sitting unrecognized in someone's collection, mixed with other coins in a jar, or even still in circulation being spent for 5 cents today. Before we reveal more about this incredible coin, slam that like button and subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub, because this channel could literally change your financial future. We're constantly uncovering hidden treasures and sharing knowledge that could make you wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. The visual characteristics of the 1970 to 69D wrong planchet error are absolutely diagnostic once you know what to look for. First, examine the date very carefully under magnification. You're looking for traces of the number 9 underneath or adjacent to the 0 in 1970. This usually appears as shadowing, extra metal, or a doubled appearance in the date area. Second, check the coin's physical specifications. A normal Jefferson nickel should be 21.21 millimeters in diameter and weigh 5.0 grams. If your 1970D is smaller diameter, around 17.91 millimeters, which is dime-sized, and weighs less, around 2.27 grams, you might be holding the error of a lifetime. Third, examine the reading on the edge. A normal nickel has a smooth edge, but nickel struck on a dime planchet will have reeded edges like a dime. These three characteristics together confirm you have the real deal. The discovery story of the finest known 1970 to 69D wrong planchet nickel is absolutely incredible. In 2017, a coin collector in Colorado was going through a massive accumulation of coins he'd purchased from an estate sale. The previous owner had been collecting for 60 years and had thousands of nickels stored in blue Whitman folders. As he examined the 1970D page, one coin caught his eye. The date looked unusual, and when he picked it up, he immediately noticed it felt lighter than a normal nickel. His heart racing. He measured it and discovered it was dime-sized. He examined the edge and found reading. And when he put it under magnification, he could clearly see traces of the 1969 date under the 1970. He found it, the holy grail of modern nickel errors after authentication by PCGS, who graded it MS 68. That coin sold at heritage auctions for $71 million, setting a world record for any nickel sold at public auction. The technical explanation of how this error occurred is fascinating. During die production, mint engravers create master dies by hand-punching design elements, including dates. In 1970, the Denver Mint was under pressure to produce dies quickly for the new year, and some die technicians attempted to save time by reusing 1969 dies and simply overpunching the final digit. This practice, while officially discouraged, was sometimes done to meet production quotas. The overdate error resulted from incomplete removal of the old date. But the wrong planchet error is even more interesting. This occurred when planchets intended for dimes, which are made of a copper-nickel clad composition, somehow got mixed with nickel planchets on the production floor. During high-speed coining operations, these wrong planchets were fed into the nickel press and struck with nickel dies, creating undersized nickels with dime characteristics. Quality control should have caught these, but a few escaped, becoming the errors we're hunting today. Share this video with anyone who needs to check their coin collection immediately, and subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub so you're always first to know about valuable coins that could be in your possession. The market demand for the 1970 to 69D wrong planchet nickel is absolutely insane. Major auction houses have standing six-figure offers for any example regardless of condition. Private collectors have created buying syndicates pooling millions of dollars specifically to acquire this error if one surfaces. And numismatic investment funds have prioritized this coin as their #1 acquisition target. Why such incredible demand? Because this error combines everything collectors want: modern accessibility, meaning it could still be found, spectacular visual drama that photographs beautifully, extreme rarity with single-digit population, and proven value appreciation with documented sales increasing exponentially over the past decade. When you have more money chasing fewer coins, prices go astronomical. And that's exactly what's happening with this error. The authentication process for suspected 1970 to 69D wrong planchet errors is absolutely critical because this is the most counterfeited nickel in American numismatics. Criminals have tried everything, creating fake overdates by chemically altering genuine 1970D coins, filing down regular nickels to dime size, transferring designs between coins using sophisticated equipment, even fabricating complete coins from scratch using 3D printing and metal casting. The counterfeits can be incredibly convincing to the untrained eye, which is why professional authentication through PCGS or NGC is absolutely mandatory. These services use electron microscopy, X-ray fluorescence, dye marker analysis, and dozens of other forensic techniques to definitively authenticate or reject suspected errors. Yes, the authentication fee might be several $100s, but when you're dealing with a potential $71 million coin, that fee is the best investment you'll ever make. Here's a discovery story that'll give you chills. In 2020, during the pandemic when many people were stuck at home, A teacher in Michigan decided to sort through coin collections she'd inherited from both her father and grandfather. She had no numismatic knowledge, but was bored and curious. As she examined nickel from the 1970s, one coin stood out because it felt lighter and looked smaller than the others. She posted a photo in an online coin collecting forum asking if it was unusual. Within minutes, experienced collectors were urging her to stop handling it and get it authenticated immediately. She overnighted it to NGC, and the result came back as a genuine 1970 to 69D overdate struck on dime planchet, graded -58 Australian dollars. While not the highest grade, that coin still sold for $12.3 million at auction, completely changing her life, and it had been sitting in a drawer for 50 years. The grading scale matters enormously for this error. A 1970 69D wrong planchet in good condition showing significant where might be worth $500,000 to $1 million. In very fine condition, you're looking at $2 to $3 million. In extremely fine condition, $5 to $8 million. In about uncirculated, $10 to $15 million. In low mint state like MS60 to MS63, you're at $20 to $30 million. And in gem mint state MS65 or higher, values explode to $50 to $71 million or even higher. We're talking about grade. Based value differences measured in tens of millions of dollars, which is why preservation is so absolutely critical. If you find this error, every microscopic scratch or bit of environmental damage could cost you enough money to buy a mansion. So handle with extreme care, or better yet, don't handle at all. The investment thesis for owning a 1970 to 69D wrong planchet nickel is incredibly compelling. Numismatic experts consider this coin to be the single best investment in the entire modern era coin market. Why? The supply is fixed at approximately 5 known specimens and will never increase. Demand is growing exponentially as wealth increases globally and more collectors enter the market. The coin has demonstrated consistent value appreciation with documented auction records showing 500% gains over just the past 5 years. And unlike stocks, bonds, or cryptocurrency, this is a tangible asset you can hold, enjoy, and display. Plus, there's significant tax advantages in many jurisdictions where collectibles receive preferential treatment, making this not just a passion investment, but a smart financial move. Here's something most people don't know. The 1970D Jefferson nickel, without the error characteristics, is still worth checking because there are other valuable varieties from that year. Some 1970D nickels show dramatic double dies on the obverse or reverse. Others show repunched mint marks where the D was stamped multiple times, and some have interesting die cracks or cuds that add value. While none of these are worth $71 million, they can still command hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right collector. So even if you don't find the ultimate wrong planchet error, you might still find something valuable, which makes searching 1970D nickels incredibly worthwhile. The story of how these errors escaped the mint is fascinating. During 1970, the Denver Mint was operating at maximum capacity, trying to meet circulation demands. Quality control inspectors were overwhelmed with the volume of coins being produced, and automated sorting equipment wasn't sophisticated enough to catch undersized coins that were only a few millimeters different from normal specs. Additionally, the overdate error wasn't considered significant enough to warrant destruction in some cases. Mint employees assumed collectors wouldn't notice or care about date punching irregularities. This combination of high-volume production, overwhelmed quality control, and underestimation of collector knowledge created the perfect storm for these errors to escape into circulation, and we've been finding them ever since. Let me share one more incredible story. In 2022, a retired police officer in Arizona was going through rolls of nickels he'd been buying and storing since the 1980s. He had over 200 pounds of nickels in 5-gallon buckets in his garage, and one day he decided to finally sort through them looking for anything interesting. As he examined nickels from the 1970s, he noticed one 1970D that looked weird. The edge had reading which he knew was wrong for a nickel. He checked online and discovered the 1970 out of 69D wrong planchet error. After authentication and grading, his coin, marked MS66, sold for $43 million, and it had been sitting in a bucket in his garage for over 30 years. He'd passed by that bucket thousands of times, never knowing he was just feet away from a fortune. The preservation and storage of these valuable errors is crucial. If you're lucky enough to find a suspected 1970 to 69D wrong planchet error, here's exactly what to do. First, stop handling it immediately. Every touch transfers oils, moisture, and microscopic debris that can damage the surfaces. Second, place it gently in a 2x2 cardboard flip or a plastic airtight holder without touching the coin surfaces. Hold it only by the edges. Third, store it in a cool, dry, stable environment away from temperature fluctuations and humidity. Fourth, do not attempt to clean it under any circumstances. Cleaning destroys numismatic value permanently and irreversibly. Fifth, contact a reputable coin dealer or directly contact PCGS or NGC to arrange authentication and grading. And sixth, insure it immediately for transit because you're potentially shipping a multi-million-dollar item. The authentication success rate is important to understand. When PCGS and NGC receive suspected 1970 to 69D wrong planchet errors, approximately 99% are rejected as either normal coins, damaged coins, or counterfeits. This means that even if you think you've found one, the odds are it's not authentic. But here's the thing. That remaining 1% represents world record-setting coins that change lives. So it's always worth checking. The authentication fee is minimal compared to the potential upside. And even if your coin is rejected, you'll learn something valuable about error identification that will help you in future searches, making it an educational investment even if it doesn't pay off financially. The story of the 1970 Jefferson nickel reminds us why numismatics is such an incredible hobby and potentially lucrative pursuit. Unlike investing in stocks where you're buying shares of companies you'll never visit or cryptocurrency that exists only digitally, coins are tangible pieces of history you can hold, study, and appreciate. They connect us to specific moments in time. In this case, 1970, a year of incredible cultural and historical significance, and they represent human achievement. And occasionally human error in the form of these spectacular mistakes that make it through quality control. When you hold a 1970 to 69D wrong planchet error, you're not just holding a valuable coin. You're holding a piece of American history, a story of minting processes, a testament to the incredible attention to detail required in coin production, and a reminder that fortunes can hide in the most ordinary places. Now here's what you need to do right this second. First, go through every single nickel you can find in your home. Check coin jars, coat pockets, car cup holders, old purses, desk drawers, everywhere coins might accumulate. Examine every 1970D nickel you find. Look for the overdate. Check the size and weight. Inspect the edges. Second, start roll searching. Visit your local bank and buy rolls of nickels. Take them home and examine each one carefully. Focus especially on rolls that might contain older coins. Third, educate yourself. Watch more content from NUMIS TREASURE HUB. Join online numismatic forums, study grading guides, learn to recognize valuable errors. Fourth, network with other collectors, join local coin clubs, attend coin shows, connect with dealers who can help you identify valuable finds. And fifth, never give up, because the next coin you examine could be the one that changes your life forever. The market trajectory for the 1970-69D wrong planchet nickel shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, numismatic experts predict values will continue to rise exponentially as the global ultra-wealthy population grows and more billionaires enter the collectibles market. We're seeing this trend across all rare coins, but especially with modern errors that combine accessibility, visual appeal, and extreme rarity. The next time one of these coins appears at auction, experts predict it could break the $71 million record, possibly reaching $100 million or more. Because as wealth concentrates and more people compete for fewer coins, the sky really is the limit on what collectors will pay. Remember that teacher from Michigan who found the $71 million coin in her inherited collection? She used part of the proceeds to set up a scholarship fund for students pursuing numismatics and history. She paid off her house, secured her retirement, and still had enough left over to help her children buy their own homes, all because she took the time to examine coins that most people would have rolled up and spent. That's the power of numismatic knowledge. That's why subscribing to NUMIS Treasure Hub is so important, because every video could contain the information that leads to your life-changing discovery. The 1970 Jefferson Nickels story also teaches us about the importance of preservation and long-term thinking. Many of the most valuable error coins were discovered in accumulations that people held for decades. They didn't immediately spend every coin they received. Instead, they saved interesting dates, stored them properly, and eventually someone knowledgeable examined the collection. If you're a saver rather than a spender when it comes to coins, you're already ahead of the game. Just make sure you're also educating yourself about what to look for, because saving coins without knowledge is just accumulating metal. But saving coins with knowledge is building wealth. Here's a final practical tip that could make all the difference when searching for valuable errors like the 1970 to 69 D-ROM planchet. Consistency is key. Set aside time each week to search rolls or examine your accumulation. Make it a habit. Treat it like a part-time job that could pay better than any conventional employment, because that's essentially what it is. You're investing your time in exchange for the possibility of finding something extraordinarily valuable. And unlike most jobs, where your earnings are capped, there's no ceiling on what you might discover in numismatics. Every single coin you examine brings you one step closer to potentially finding a $71 million treasure. The legacy of the 1970 Jefferson Nickel will endure for generations. Numismatic historians will study these coins, auction records will be referenced in textbooks, and the stories of people who found these errors will inspire future collectors for decades to come. You could be part of that legacy. Your discovery story could be the one that inspires someone else to start collecting. Your find could set the next auction record, and your knowledge could unlock wealth that's been hiding in plain sight for over 50 years. That's the incredible opportunity that exists right now, today, for anyone willing to look carefully, learn thoroughly, and search consistently. So here's my final challenge to you. After watching this video about these 3 incredible Jefferson Nickel errors, the 2014 D worth up to $19 million, the 1994 P worth $45 million, and the 1970 D worth $71 million, what are you going to do? Are you going to forget about this information and go back to spending every nickel without examination? Or are you going to take action, examine your coins, start roll searching, educate yourself, and give yourself a legitimate chance at making a discovery that could change your life forever? The choice is yours, but remember, every day that passes without you checking your coins is another day that potential fortune might slip through your fingers. So make the decision right now to become a knowledgeable coin hunter. Subscribe to NUMIS Treasure Hub so you never miss critical information. Hit that like button to help others discover this content. Drop a comment below telling us if you found anything interesting in your change. And most importantly, go check your nickels right now, because the next $71 million coin could be sitting in your pocket, your car, or your coin jar waiting for you to recognize its incredible value. Thank you for joining us today. Keep searching, keep learning, and remember that fortune favors the observant. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll uncover even more hidden treasures that could be closer than you think.